wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Welcome, it's Jullien Gordon here with another episode of the Daily Jules, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you become more and more free, to increase your degrees of freedom. I don't care how many college degrees you have. The only degree that really matters to me is your degree of freedom. I don't care how much money you make. The only thing that really matters is how you actually make money and do you enjoy it. And so today I want to talk about, can you make $1 without a job? And have you ever made $1 without a job? If you want to post in the chat, in the comments, let me know if you've actually made $1 without a job. And then let me know if you've made $10 without a job. Then let me know if you've made, how many of you made $1,000 without a job? Okay, how many people have made $10,000 without a job? You see, people start dropping off when we get to those 5 figures. Has anybody made $100,000 without a job? I see you, Brenda. I know you have. Building that screen printing business. I love it. I love it. Focus group member, my mastermind. Okay, great. So the reason I bring that up is because being here in Jamaica, just landing, it just reminds me of the entrepreneurial culture that is all throughout what people call developing countries, but I don't see them as that. I see them as countries of entrepreneurs. And, I come out of Sangster Airport in Montego Bay, and there are people hustling. Taxi drivers. You go to the beach and you see people have caught fish. You see people selling fruits on the streets. Literally, everybody is selling something. If you remember the skit from A Living Color, where, Keenan Ivory Wayans talking about, I got 3 jobs, man, right? He was the stewardess, he was the pilot, and he was the mechanic on the plane, right? And I think we as Jamaicans have gotten branded as these people who know how to get it, and who know how to make it work in this informal economy. In fact, here in Jamaica, the informal economy literally makes up 60% of the economy. It makes up 60% of the economy. The economy here is about $1.7 trillion. And the informal economy, which makes up 60%, is about 800 million. So just to put 800 billion, forgive me, 800 billion. So to put 800 billion into context, Amazon's market cap right now is around 650 billion. So the informal economy here in Jamaica, with about 2.8 million people, is about the size of one Amazon, greater than the size of one Amazon company, right? And so the reason I bring that up is because Americans, we are just now getting on the freelance movement. In fact, I think about 36% of the American workforce claims to freelance now, but that workforce has only made about $1.7 trillion. All those freelancers, or people who claim to freelance, only make up about $1.7 trillion. So, in fact, the Jamaican informal economy, if you divide that by the number of people who are actually in that economy, because the 2.8 million number that I gave you, and I know I'm just throwing out a lot of numbers, that includes just the Jamaican population. What I was talking about was the American workforce. So about, I think, 35% of the American workforce, which is about 57 million people, are actually engaged in the freelance economy, but Americans aren't really winning. Now, what's interesting is that you might be in a developing country and there are people here that actually want, quote-unquote, good jobs in the United States. And then what I see as a trend is that more and more Americans actually want to just be free and be able to make money on their own. And I think that's one of the most valuable skill sets in the world that we're evolving into, and I call it the entrepreneur reality. It's the entrepreneur reality that the world's evolving into, and the reality is that we're all already entrepreneurs. We're all already entrepreneurs. An employee is simply an entrepreneur with one big client. If that one big client actually cuts you off, then you're in trouble. And with automation, with outsourcing, with globalization, it's actually in a company's best interest, as a CEO, it's actually in a company's best interest to automate and outsource and do whatever it can in a lot of ways to remove people out of the equation, because we as people and human beings, we do weird and funny stuff. But if I can rely on a computer, then that's actually easier. I'm not saying that we should cut jobs for computers or whatnot, but sometimes it's more efficient, it's more economical. And so if we are just relying as Americans for somebody to pay us, to give us a job, that's actually going to put us behind. That's an old way of thinking about work. I used to think about getting a job, and now I think about creating jobs. I used to think about getting a job. That used to be my goal, getting a good job. Now I focus on creating good jobs. And a lot of people who have worked with me in the past, I know that they have an entrepreneurial spirit in them. I actually hire people who have the entrepreneurial spirit in them, but haven't gotten to the point where their business is able to sustain them yet. So I'm able to leverage some of their time and resources until they can even learn from me, and then they can actually go off, and many of them go off and actually start their own business and step into this, what we call this informal economy, or this freelance economy. It's funny how in the developing countries it's called an informal economy, it's called the underground market, it's called the black market, but in the United States it's called freelancing, right? The way we brand stuff in the United States, and the way we always make ourselves bigger or make ourselves feel better than it just perplexes me. But I honestly believe that people in developing countries like Jamaica are more prepared for the future economy that we're heading into than most Americans. Because Americans have just been jobbing for so long. I mean, when Henry Ford came along with the assembly line, and from there emerged, he did raise wages, and you got to be very careful with anytime an employer wants to pay you more. Especially if it's salary. I oftentimes equate salary with slavery, because when somebody's paying you a salary, they think they own you. It's no longer a 40-hour work week. If they want you to work 80, then you better show up and work 80, right? Because you're on salary. I own you. And corporations, I think they had a good original intention, and that original intention was, I'm going to hire you and I'm going to take care of you. There are even such things as corporate towns, where, similar to the military, they would bring and house your family, and they would take responsibility for your entire life and make sure that you had everything that you needed in order to do your best work for them. But I guess that was the peak, and then from there they've just been taking things off the table one by one until and then at the same time they want you to be loyal, right? But historically we've seen that they have become less and less loyal. So it's just very interesting, and I think it's a powerful mindset when you know how to actually wake up and go create $1 for yourself. When you know how to wake up, use your own mind, your own talents, your own skills, your own hands if you have to go simply create $1 for yourself. And many Americans haven't done that. They just haven't created $1 for themselves without an organization or institution or a company giving it to them through the form of a job. And that's actually my challenge for today is, in the next 30 days, I challenge you to go try to make $1,000 outside the concept of a job if you have a job. I encourage you just to say, okay, what skill set am I actually selling to my employer right here and right now, right? What are they actually paying me for? They're not hiring me just to hire me. I'm solving some sort of problem, and I'm bringing some sort of skill set to the table. Who else could benefit from this skill set that I have, right? Who else could benefit? And I want you to go out into the market and try to find somebody to sell your services to. Go find somebody to sell your services to besides your employer. Again, in this entrepreneur reality, we are all already entrepreneurs. We are all already entrepreneurs. An employee is simply an entrepreneur with one big client. All right? And that's dangerous no matter how much money you make, because the moment they pull the plug, if your cost of living is extremely high and it has risen with your salary, then you're in trouble. And so this is landing in Jamaica today, and just seeing the entrepreneurship that goes on, that, again, people brand is the underground economy, the black economy, but in the United States we call it freelancing. It just reminded me that as this economy evolves and we move away from jobs, the end of jobs is coming, and everybody recognizes that I am an entrepreneur that sells my gifts, talents, strengths, skills, and my time in some cases to help other people succeed. I believe that there are places that we call like developing economies that are actually where the people in those places are ahead of Americans in terms of the mindset that you'll need to navigate the entrepreneur reality successfully. So that is the Daily Jewel, and that is the challenge for you, is to, if you have a job, I encourage you to go out there and try to make $1,000 this month outside the context of your job. I don't care how much you get paid, whether you get paid $10,000 a month, whether you get paid $4,000 a month. I challenge you to go create $1,000 using who you are and what you have, and see if you can do it. And see if you can do it. Even if you make $1, even if you make $5, even if you make $10, that can always be grown. But I challenge you to get out of this mindset of jobbing and really having this paternal relationship with corporations, and that somebody is supposed to pay me, somebody's supposed to hire me, somebody's supposed to give me money every 2 weeks, give me rations every 2 weeks. I want you to get out of that mindset regardless of how much money you make, and go try to make money on your own. Alright? So that is it. I'm about to get back to the family. I appreciate you all for being here. Go ahead and share this if you found it to be valuable. If you know you have somebody in your life who needs to unplug, who has been talking about leaving, right, and stepping away and doing their own thing, living in alignment with their purpose. Because honestly, I haven't seen that many people be in a job and live in alignment with their purpose. I don't know, for some reason when we get caught up in these entities and there's this group think that occurs, I haven't seen many jobs out there, and I would love for you to share them with me if you know some, where people actually feel like they're fulfilling their purpose through the job. Through the job. The people who I feel are most purposeful actually are entrepreneurs, because you aren't fitting into a culture, you're actually creating and shaping culture. You are living out your purpose, which is your unique calling and why you're here. And you know, as I always say, your purpose is the only thing that you cannot fail at. Why would your creator create you with a purpose and then not give you everything that you need to succeed at that purpose? It just doesn't make sense. But you have to have faith to step out and actually go after it. And my work is really around helping people create business models, right, that actually allow them to sustain doing their purpose. So their purpose isn't just on weeknights or through mentorship or through a nonprofit or on weekends, but that they can be doing their purpose full time, right? That's the work that we do at the Freedom School. It's not about just financial freedom. It's about the freedom to give your gift to the world, which I believe is your purpose. So with that, I want to send love to all of you back in the States. And I'm still going to try to do my Daily Jules. Hey, it is vacation. The wife might tell me to unplug, but this is a commitment that I made to my community and myself at the beginning of the year, to just continue to share the wisdom and the thoughts that are on my mind about freedom, to help you all become more and more free. There's degrees to freedom, right? There are levels to this, and I want you to have more and more degrees of freedom day by day. So with that, I hope this blessed you. Please share it, and I will see you soon. All right? Much love. Peace.